Bob, interesting question.
Yeah.
In terms of other people's material, other lyricists, other artists, are there things that you've heard where you say, like, gee, I really wish I had authored that one, or I would write that one? I mean, what?
Well, there are some, yeah. There's, I love a lot of the later Leonard Cohen stuff. I think he's a great lyricist. Also, there was the lyricist with Cream, like Jack Bruce wrote a lot of the music for Cream, but there was an outside guy called Pete Brown.
Yeah, Pete Brown, yeah.
Pete Brown wrote a lot of the Cream lyrics, and there were some great lyrics there.
Yeah. He was a hardcore
really sang
beatnik.
well, and that. What's that?
Wasn't he like a hardcore beatnik guy or something, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so a lot of Cream lyrics, some of the Beatle lyrics, I think are brilliant. I like Leonard Cohen stuff. He did an album called The Future.
The Future.
Yeah, you've not heard that album?
No, but I'm going to check it out now.
For some people it's a little dark, or some people say it's even depressing. I don't find it, though. I just find it very, very arty and very clever.
Right, okay. Well, we're going to definitely take a look at that one for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of some other artists, now you worked for Yngwie for an album,
Yeah.
Odyssey, yeah? Now,
Yeah.
a thing, that we've always kind of talked about with him is, obviously this is a virtuoso musician. But the thing is that, he never was able to score, with a real commercial piece of work. And so when you had to go into that situation, I mean, was there an expectation that you were supposed to bring some of the Daisley magic to the thing? And
I don't think so.
No?
I think that was like the songs were more or less written and ready to record and all that. It was just a bit of a convenience situation, really, because he had a producer that I'd worked with Gary Moore called Jeff Glixman.
Okay.
And Jeff Glixman I hooked up with in Los Angeles at the end of a Gary Moore tour, and Jeff was producing Yngwie's album, and he said, well, Yngwie hasn't got a bass player at the moment. He's played bass on a couple of the tracks himself. Do you want to do some tracks? And I said, yeah, I'll do some tracks. So I stayed behind in LA when the Gary Moore tour finished, and just played on some of the tracks.
Okay. Well,
at the time they did ask me to join the band, but I declined. Really for two reasons. It was because I was pretty happy with the Gary Moore situation, and I liked working with Gary, and that was going well. And secondly, because the material that Yngwie was doing, although it was very good, and he's a great player, and the band was good, and the album turned out well, it was that sort of chorusy, that stuff you were talking about before, where it's got the hooky chorus.
Yeah, the chanty thing, yeah.
All that sort of stuff, and that wasn't really my cup of tea.
Well, see, it answers the great question, because, when I look at, listen to or look over those lyrics, I said it doesndoesn't really look like Bob's kind of signature thing. Really
as an example, the inspiration for that song, I Don't Know, came from a story that Ozzy told me, that when he was in Black Sabbath, they had, especially, I think more in America when they used to tour around, they'd have people coming up to them asking them, what's going to happen, and do you have any, psychic ability, and all this sort of thing, because they were called Black Sabbath, and because they were into the sort of more macabre sort of thing. And Ozzy would say, I don't know, Sharon. It was really me putting into words that, kind of the story that Ozzy had told me about, how they used to get questioned by people about, do they have psychic ability, or do they know more than the average person because they are Black Sabbath, so...
Right. Well,
that's why the opening lines where people look to me and say, is the end near, when is the final day?
Right.
But it was a little bit of I took the mickey out of Ozzy a little bit without him realising it. How do I know I got left behind?
yeah. I always wondered about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that was
good,
just
Bob.
a line I thought was a bit funny, a bit tongue-in-cheek, and it rhymed, so I thought, I'll throw that in anyway,
Okay, well that makes a lot of... Now, so with the Black Sabbath thing, though, but then you did a stint for Tony on the Idol album, how was...
Well, that was another situation where I was just really... That was Jeff Glixman again.
Okay.
That same producer.
Uh-huh.
He phoned me. I had been working with Gary Moore, and Jeff phoned me, and he said, what are you doing at the moment? Do you want to do a Black Sabbath album? And I said, well, I'm not doing anything at the moment, and I ended up speaking to Sabbath's manager at the time, which was Patrick Meehan, and worked out a deal to go out and just play on the album, because the bass player they had to go back to LA or something. They were in Montserrat in the West Indies at Air Studios, George Martin's studio in Air, and the bass player had to go and take care of something, some personal situation or something.
But this is not Geezer that we're talking about, though.
No, this was Dave Spitz.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
He ended up getting the credit on the album because he was still in the band, but he didn't play on the album. So I flew from London to Montserrat, played on the album. Tony and Ray Gillan was in the band at the time too.
Yeah.
Who's no longer with us.
I know, fabulous singer.
Yeah, he was a great singer, and he said he was struggling with lyrics and that, so I did help him with lyrics. But I think some of those got changed when Tony Martin, the singer that ended up on the album, I think some of the lyrics got changed when he went in to do the vocals anyway. But at the time, the band, it was Eric Singer, Ray Gillan, Tony Iommi, and Jeff Nichols. They asked me to join the band permanently, but again, it was the same situation. It was, I'm happy working with Gary Moore, and I've got no real reason to leave, and things were a little shaky with Sabbath at that time. This was 1986, and things were a little shaky as far as management-wise and all the rest of it. So I declined the offer. I said, thanks for the offer, and I did like the band, and it was nothing to do with the band or the music that made me say no. It was more the political situation with management and the situation of the band at that time.
Sure, very heavy.
But that album, that Eternal Idol album, I think is a great album. I think it could have been mixed better, but for the material and what was done with it, I thought it was a very good album. It's a bit underrated, I think.